What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and today on our Beyond Omega Level series, we're going to discuss Gladiator, who is one of the many iterations of Marvel's Superman, and you guys will find out exactly just how close this guy is to Superman. Arguably, he's the closest thing that Marvel has, maybe with the exception of Hyperion. But Gladiator, whose real name is Calark, was created by Chris Claremont and Dave Cockrum, and first appeared in X-Men number 107 in 1977. Now, for a bit of interesting background here, each of the members of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard were created as homages to the Legion of Superheroes of DC Comics, and Gladiator is a homage to Superman, or Superboy, depending on who you're talking about. But his name being Calark is literally a mashup of the names Kal-El and Clark, and the name Gladiator is a nod to the novel of the same name that serves as an inspiration for the creation of Superman. Now, Calark belongs to a race of aliens called the Strontians, who fall under the control of the Shi'ar Empire, but the species possesses great inherent strength and were trained as cadets in service of the Empire. Now, Calark stood out among all of his peers and was among a group of 10 elite recruits that would have their power levels greatly enhanced after completing a series of trials. And so the final test presented to the cadets before being elevated to the title of Gladiator was to go back to their home planet of Strontia and kill the Strontian Council of Elders. Now, of the 10 people, only Calark proved his devotion by having the willingness to obey this command as he carried out the killing of the beings who were responsible for raising him, and his loyalty was ultimately rewarded as he was elevated to Gladiator status and named Praetor of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, basically its leader, devoted to protecting the leader of the Shi'ar Empire. So like I said earlier, once he was promoted to Gladiator, Calark's power level increased drastically. And since we've established that Gladiator was a creation or created as a homage to Superman and Superboy, it comes as no surprise that his power set is virtually identical. So that means, of course, that he has super strength. And I feel like Gladiator is often overlooked in terms of how strong he actually is. And that's probably because he's been written pretty inconsistently over the years. But when we look at what he's done, it becomes clear this guy's definitely one of the strongest characters in Marvel Comics, and it makes sense that he was part of the Annihilators. So for instance, when he hits Ben Grimm, Ben states it was the hardest hit he had ever endured, and this was after he had squared off with the Incredible Hulk on more than one occasion. In a battle with Invisible Woman, who's bonded with the Unipower, which is the power that gives individuals the power of Captain Universe, Gladiator not only held his own, but the two of them caused a tsunami that threatened to destroy California. On another occasion, Gladiator was engaged in a test of strength with Hyperion, and both of them exerted enough force to pulverize a planet. But most notably, Gladiator was able to punch a planet apart with only a couple of hits. Also, although we don't see it happen on panel, the Living Tribunal states that Gladiator is capable of removing planets from their orbits and collapse stars with his bare hands. Furthermore, Gladiator's son, Kid Gladiator, remarks that his father can crack moons with his punches and tear black holes apart. And Gladiator himself says that he's flown through stars and can move planets at will. So we're talking about an absolutely insane level of strength when it comes to this guy. Now, in addition to his strength, Gladiator also has superhuman durability, having survived an explosion that would have annihilated half of a solar system and was completely unfazed by a blast from Vulcan, who himself is basically Omega level. Furthermore, Gladiator laughed when he was hit with the Nova Flame from the Human Torch and Red Sun that was 100 million miles wide without suffering any ill effects. Another often overlooked aspect of Gladiator's power set is his super speed. In terms of his reflexes, he's caught around from a sniper rifle, and when it comes to pure speed, he's been able to outrun photons, which are basically particles of light, which means he can travel faster than the speed of light. In fact, Reed Richards actually observed that he traveled at 100 times the speed of light when he approached the Earth, and also covered a distance of multiple light years in a matter of seconds. On top of that, Gladiator possesses microvision, which allows him to count 10 billion microsentinels in Jean Grey's bloodstream in an instant. But the similarities to Superman don't stop there. He also possesses a form of X-ray vision and heat vision, with his heat vision being hotter than a star and powerful enough to destroy asteroids, turn air into plasma, and cause molecules to vibrate so quickly that they burn Galactus. Also, much like Superman, Gladiator possesses a form of frost breath that was capable of snuffing out the flame of the Human Torch, who at his absolute peak is as hot as the sun. Now, with all that in mind, it's obvious that Gladiator is at least Omega level. I mean, we know he can destroy planets, planets, and it's said that he's able to collapse black holes, so there really shouldn't be much debate as to whether Gladiator belongs in the Omega or even beyond Omega level tier. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, he's been the victim of extremely inconsistent writing throughout his numerous appearances, and I think the result of this inconsistent writing is that many readers vastly underestimate his power level. Just to give an example of what I'm talking about here, on the one hand, we have all these feats that should speak for themselves as to how powerful this guy is. But then we have other instances where he's knocked down by Gambit. or has a hard time overpowering Colossus. But this is a problem that has plagued comic book characters for years, and as readers, inconsistent writing is something we are just gonna have to accept. That there are going to be instances when the bad guy or antagonist is gonna be hurt by a character they logically should be able to easily destroy, because that's what the story calls for. And when Gladiator runs into the X-Men are ultimately going to win because the book is called X-Men, it's not called Gladiator. But at the end of the day, we have seen what Gladiator can do, and we've seen him give the Phoenix Five a run for their money in Avengers vs. X-Men. The Phoenix Force, even when divided among 5 hosts, is one of the most powerful forces in Marvel Comics, so the fact that Gladiator can even challenge them is impressive. So despite all the inconsistencies in writing, I'm comfortable in saying that based on his feats, Gladiator is easily Omega level and could potentially be classified as a beyond Omega level threat. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. I'm really curious because I'll be honest, man, people sleep on Gladiator. This dude is just OP. But we're gonna bring this to an end. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.